every day.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 21, Text 38 to 40. Yator nanabhir hridayad urnam udvamate mukad aksha akashad goshavan prano manasa sparsharupinam chandomayo amritamaya sahasrapadavim prabhu omkarad yanjita sparsha स्वरोस्मान्तस्तभूषितां विचित्रभाषाविततां छन्दोभिश्चतुरुत्तरै अनन्तपारां बृहतीं सृजति आक्षिपते स्वयं. Just as a spider brings forth from its heart its web and emits it through its mouth, uh, the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself as a reverberating, primeval, vital air comprising all sacred Vedic meters and full of transcendental pleasure. Thus, the Lord, from the ethereal sky of his heart, creates the great and limitless Vedic sound by the agency of his mind, which conceives of variegated sounds such as the sparshas. The, the Vedic sound branches out in thousands of directions, adorned with the different letters expanded from the syllable Om, the consonants, vowels, sibilants, and semi-vowels. The Veda is then elaborated by many verbal varieties expressed in different meters, each having 4 more syllables than the previous one. Ultimately, the Lord again withdraws his manifestation of Vedic sound within himself. Purport: Srila Sridhara Swami has given an elaborate technical explanation of these 3 verses, the understanding of which requires extensive linguistic knowledge of the Sanskrit language. The essential point is that transcendental knowledge is expressed through Vedic sound vibration, which is itself a manifestation of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. Vedic sound emanates from the Supreme Lord and is vibrated to glorify and understand Him. The conclusion of all Vedic sound vibration is found in the Bhagavad Gita, wherein the Lord states, Vedaischa sarvair ahamaiva vedya. um, all Vedic knowledge is simply meant to teach us to know and love God. One who always thinks of Krishna, who becomes the Lord's, one who always thinks of Lord Krishna, who becomes the Lord's devotee, and who bows down to and worships the Lord with faith and devotion, chanting his holy names, has certainly achieved a perfect understanding of all that is indicated by the word Veda, knowledge. So, a very good analogy. The spider gets its web from the heart and emits it through its mouth. And so, the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself as the reverberating primeval vital air, comprising of all sacred Vedic meters and full of transcendental pleasure. So, it is coming from the ethereal sky of his heart, all the Vedas. So it comes in the form of the primeval vital air, and it has all the Vedic meters. Vedic sound creates a great and limitless Vedic sound by the agency of his mind, which consists of variegated sounds such as the sparshas. So all the different alphabets of the Sanskrit language are termed by different names. There are, those which are just which are spoken just with the lips, pa, bha, bha, ma. I think that is the sparshas. Then some with the tongue, like k, k, g, g, ng, and then th, 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 n, that is with tongue touching the upper palate. So based on how we produce the sound, those alphabets are named differently. So that is what everything, all these different sounds come from his mind. The Vedic sound branches out in thousands of directions, adorned with the different letters, expanded from the syllable Om. The consonants, vowels, sibilants, and semi-vowels. The Veda is then elaborated by many verbal varieties expressed in different meters, each having 4 more syllables than the previous one. So we have different meters, right? That's Anushtubh Chandaha, Anushtubh meter, Gayatri meter, like that. The way the the words are composed in what like the number of words and so on. And he's saying that each meter has got 4 more words than the previous one. Ultimately, the Lord again withdraws his manifestation of Vedic sound within himself. So all sound is, that's why Krishna says, I am the sound in ether. That also is Krishna only because it's coming from him. And Veda means all knowledge. So knowledge also comes from Krishna, and all the sound and the words, everything. There is nothing which is not part of Krishna. Okay. Gayatri Ushnig Anushtup cha Brihati Panktir eva cha Trishtub Jagati Atichando Hi Atyasti Ati Jagad Virat. The Vedic meters are Gayatri, Ushnik, Anushtup, Brihati, Pankti, Trishtup, Jagati, Atichanda, Atyasti, Ati Jagati, and Ati Virat. How many totally? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The Gayatri meter has 24 syllables. And the one after that, Ushnik has 28 syllables. Anushtup, 32, and so on. Each meter having 4 more syllables than the previous one. Vedic sound is called Brihati, or most expansive. And thus it's not possible for ordinary living entities to understand all the technical details in this matter. So we know Sanskrit is a divine language. That is the originally coming from Krishna himself, from his breathing. And everything else is an expansion of that or a contamination of that. All from Sanskrit comes every other language, material. Kim vidatte, kim achaste, kim anudhya vikalpayet, iti asya hridayam loke, nanyo madveda kaschana. In the entire world, no one but me actually understands the confidential purpose of Vedic knowledge. Thus, people do not know what the Vedas are actually prescribing in the ritualistic injunctions of Karma Kanda, or what object is actually being indicated in the formulas of worship found in the Upasana Kanda, or that which is elaborately discussed through various hypotheses in the Jnana Kanda section of the Vedas. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the absolute truth, Lord Sri Krishna. Since the Lord is the source, maintainer, and ultimate goal of Vedic knowledge, he is Vedavit, or the only true knower of Vedic knowledge. So-called philosophers, either Vedic scholars or ordinary men, may give their sectarian opinion, but it is the Lord himself who knows the confidential purpose of the Vedas. The Lord is the only actual shelter and lovable object for all living entities, as he states in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 10.41. Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam Srimad urjitam eva va tat tad evava gachabtvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. All beautiful, extraordinary, and powerful manifestations are insignificant displays of Lord's own opulences. Although ordinary people may quarrel over the purpose of religion, the actual purpose is one: Krishna consciousness, a pure love of Godhead. All Vedic formulas are understood to be preliminary stages leading to the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness, in which one fully surrenders to the devotional service of the Lord. The pure devotees of the Lord represent Him within this world and never speak anything which is not authorized by the Lord. Because they are repeating the Lord's own words, they are also to be understood as true knowers of the Vedas. So Vaishnavas also, pure devotees, also know the purpose of the Vedas because they are just repeating whatever Krishna said. And that's what the Lord is the absolute truth. And because He is the source of all the truth, He is the maintainer and ultimate goal of Vedic knowledge. He is the source, He is the maintainer, and He is the goal also of Vedas. So that is why He is called Vedavit, or the only true knower of Vedic knowledge. Uh, so that's everything is coming from Him. So normally people quarrel about what is the purpose of religion, but and even those who are Vedic scholars, um, who are because in the translation it says, in the entire world, no one but me actually understands the confidential purpose of Vedic knowledge. Thus, people do not know what the Vedas are actually prescribing in the ritualistic injunctions of Karma Kanda, or what object is actually being indicated in the formulas of worship found in the Upasana Kanda, which is the worshipping part, or that which is elaborately discussed through various hypotheses in the Jnana Kanda section of the Vedas. Nobody knows that it's actually Krishna is only being indicated. Everything is leading us towards Him. But most people who are following Karma Kanda are more interested in the result, materialistic results. So they don't know what is the purpose behind it. But a pure devotee knows what Krishna's real purpose is, because they know that Krishna's created this material world only for our purification and taking us back home, back to Godhead. So everything is simply leading to understanding Krishna. Mam vidatte avidatte mam vikalpyapo khyate tvaham etavan sarva vedartha shabda astaya mam vidam maya matram anudhyante pratisidhya prasidati. I am the ritualistic sacrifice enjoined by the Vedas, and I am the worshipable deity. It is I who am presented as various philosophical hypotheses, and it is I alone who am then refuted by philosophical analysis. The transcendental sound vibration thus establishes me that thus establishes me as the essential meaning of all Vedic knowledge. The Vedas, elaborately analyzing all material duality as nothing but my illusory potency, ultimately completely negates this duality and achieves their own satisfaction. The Lord declared in the previous verse that He alone knows the ultimate purpose of the Vedas. And now the Lord reveals that He alone is the ultimate basis and purpose of all Vedic knowledge. The Karma Kanda section of the Vedas prescribe ritualistic sacrifices for promotion to heaven. Such sacrifices are the Lord Himself. Similarly, the Upasana Kanda section of the Vedas designates different demigods as objects of ritualistic worship. And these deities are not different from the Lord Himself, being expansions of the Lord's body. In the Jnana-kanda section of the Vedas, different philosophical methods of analysis are presented and refuted. Such knowledge, which analyzes the potency of the Supreme Lord, is not different from him. Ultimately, Lord Krishna is everything because everything is part and parcel of Lord's multipotencies. Although Vedic literature entices those absorbed in material duality to begin the Vedic way of life by offering them materially desirable rewards, in the Vedas eventually refute all material duality by bringing one to the stage of God consciousness, wherein there is nothing different from the Supreme Lord. So that is why I said that first you analyze, and then in the Veda, with different philosophical methods of analysis are presented and then refuted. In the beginning, you see why, I mean, all these things, um, you know, mm, about the its discussion of the various material things, Lord's multipotencies are there. And this is all for those people who are completely immersed in material consciousness so that they can get material benefits. And finally, it is refuted that these things are simply illusory. So leave it. Um, so that bringing one to the stage of God consciousness, wherein there is nothing different from the Supreme Lord. So in the beginning, we are taught to only look at differences in the material world, what is auspicious, what is inauspicious, and all that. And then once we realize, once we get purified and you understand Krishna only is everywhere, everything, then we only see Krishna, not these differences. Within the Vedic literature, there are various injunctions stating that at a particular stage of life, one should give up fruitive rituals and take to the path of knowledge. Similarly, other injunctions declare that a self realized soul should give up the path of speculative knowledge and take directly to the shelter of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. But nowhere is there an injunction recommending that one give up the loving service of the Lord, because that is the eternal constitutional position of every living entity. So, Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, that is to be given, and Upasana Kanda, also worship of the Devatas. But pure devotional service, nowhere is it mentioned that it should be given, because that's the ultimate goal. It is our eternal nature. Different philosophical theses are present and rejected in the Vedas. Since one is progressing, one must give up each previous stage in the advancement of knowledge. For example, one who is addicted to sex enjoyment is taught to accept religious marriage and enjoy sex pleasure with his wife. Such ritualistic knowledge is to be given up when one attains the stage of detachment, whereupon one is recommended to take the renounced order of life. In that stage of life, one is forbidden to see or speak with women. When, however, one reaches the perfection of Krishna consciousness, wherein the Lord is manifest everywhere, one may engage all living entities, including women, in the loving service of the Lord without danger of spiritual fall down. Thus, different injunctions based on progressive stages of spiritual vision are presented and refuted in Vedic literature. Since all such injunctions and processes are ultimately meant for the achievement of Krishna consciousness, the loving service of the Lord, they are not different from Lord Krishna himself. The conditioned soul, therefore, should not prematurely stop his progressive march back home, back to Godhead, by foolishly mistaking an intermediate or preliminary stage of advancement as the actual goal of life. That is the problem. Those who are doing karma kand and they feel that it is very good, they're very pious, they're, you know, also worshipping the Lord, and they think that is the purpose of life, simply to do all these yajnas and have nice prosperity and lead and then go to the heavenly planets and enjoy yourself, all this. But that's what you shouldn't be stuck. Because after that you're supposed to progress towards jnana kanda, where you think, understand this is all illusory and there is something higher, that we are eternal souls and all that. And then from jnana kanda one has to progress to worshipping first devatas and then the supreme personality of Godhead. we have to give up. So, like that, it is a step-by-step process. So, thus different injunctions based on progressive stages of spiritual vision are presented and refuted in Vedic literature. Naturally, first it will be presented, and in the next level, that will be refuted. Karma Kanda will be refuted in the Jnana Kanda section. That is all, totally illusory. Since all such injunctions and processes are ultimately meant for the achievement of Krishna consciousness, loving service of the Lord, they are not different from Lord Krishna himself. So they are also required. Krishna has only given it so that we make progress. One must understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the source, maintenance, and resting place of everything, and that every living entity is the Lord's eternal servant. In this way, one should continue on the Vedic path all the way back home, back to Godhead, for eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So, this uh, everything is meant for Krishna's service. So that's how Prabhupada used everything. Though we always propagated only pure devotional service, chanting, dancing, kirtan, and then cooking for him and doing other services for Krishna. But he also, because most people, they don't understand this. They are on the level of karma kand only. So he also, if there was some big function where he was, it's like a what ceremony, installing or inaugurating a temple or any such thing, then he would have these homas and all that, because that is also coming from Krishna, the Vedic ceremonies and all that. Except that we know of practicing pure devotional service, we know that that is also meant for understanding Krishna only. It is not just meant for this thing. But by doing all these things, it brings a lot of good for the people. Chanting all these mantras and homas brings a lot of pious results for the people. Yesterday, I was reading about how, it was that, yesterday we saw how this Krishna was saying, um, chanting brings a lot of good for the people. So anyway, so all these, we must utilize everything so that people somehow get attracted. That's why Guru Maharaj, Gopal Gopala Bhatta Goswami, he wrote the samskaras, a Vaishnava method of doing samskaras, so that that is like a karma kanda section within our pure devotional service. It's not really karma kanda, but it purifies our material activities also, just like uh, conceiving a child, getting pregnancy, and then childbirth, and then taking care of the children and different stages, purifies everything by connecting it to the Supreme Lord. So like that, everything can be utilized in Krishna's service. And because we understand that ultimate goal is only Krishna. But those who, if you ask these karma kandis, those who are doing all these yajnas, why don't we also chant Hare Krishna mantra? They'll say, no, no, no. We only believe in only this. We'll only do homas. They don't like all this other things. Or the jnana kandis, they don't want any such singing, dancing, and all that. Just listen to Vedanta Sutra and meditate. Vairagya, jnana. That's what. They'll not accept anything, because they think that is the purpose of the Vedas. But a devotee, because you know that Krishna is the goal for all these, they don't mind. Okay, have some homa also, have some philosophical discussions about Vedanta Sutra. There also we will prove how everything is to simply understand Krishna. So, in this way, one should continue on the Vedic path all the way back home, back to Godhead, for eternal life of bliss and knowledge. Thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the 11th canto, 21st chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Krishna's Explanation of the Vedic Path. The chapter 22 is enumeration of the elements of material creation. So this is something like Sankhya Yoga, telling about all the elements of material creation. This chapter enumerates and categorizes the natural elements, explains the difference between the male and female natures, and describes birth and death. There are many opinions concerning the number of material elements, but this difference of opinions brought about by the influence of the illusory energy is not illogical. All the elements of nature exist everywhere. So authorities who have accepted the illusory potency of the Supreme Personality may propose a variety of theories. The insurmountable illusory energy of God is the root cause of their mutually contradictory arguments. There is no difference between the ultimate enjoyer and the supreme controller. To presuppose any distinction between them is senseless. Ordinary knowledge is simply a quality of material nature, not of the soul proper. The raw substance of material nature is designated according to its different phases. In the mode of goodness, it is known as knowledge. In the mode of passion, as activity. And in the mode of darkness, as ignorance. So, this is how material nature is categorized, right? That is how it starts. Creation itself starts when the Mahat Tattva is formed. Pradhana is just primordial matter, which it's just non-differentiated, simply one blob over there. And because of the glance of Mahavishnu, then Shiva and Parvati combined, and then Mahatattva formed. Mahatattva has got the three modes of material nature. So here also he's saying that the raw substance of material nature is designated according to its different phases. In the mode of goodness, it is known as knowledge. In the mode of passion, as activity. And in the mode of darkness, as ignorance. Time is another name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And another name for material propensity is Sutra or Mahatattva. The 25 elements of nature are the Lord, nature, the Mahat, false ego, ether, air, fire, water, earth, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the skin, speech, hands, feet, genitals, anus, mind, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. So, I mean, just grouped it differently, but it's the same that we know. The 23 first is that 5 gross elements, and then 5 knowledge gathering senses, 5 active senses, that is 15, then 5 objects of the senses, which is the touch, form, taste, and smell. Then that is 20. Then 3 is mind, intelligence, and ego, false ego. Then 24th is the Mahatattva, and here they've included Krishna also, supreme 25th element. Then the unmanifest Supreme Personality merely glances at nature. So he is not visible to our material eyes, and he just glances at nature, that's all. Material nature, which is under the control of the Supreme Lord, then assumes the forms of causes and effects and carries out the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world. Even though the Purusha and Prakriti appear non-different to superficial vision, there is ultimate difference between the two. Material creation is produced from the modes of Prakriti, and its quality is transformation. The living entities who are inimical to the Supreme Personality of Godhead take on and give up various kinds of material bodies through the agency of their own material work. But those who are ignorant of the self, because of being bewildered by illusion, do not understand this. The mind, which is filled with ideas of fruitive work, simply takes the senses with it from one body to another, while the soul follows along. Nevertheless, on account of being totally absorbed in sense gratification, one cannot remember his past existence. The body undergoes 9 stages of manifestation, which are brought about by association with the qualities of material nature. These are impregnation, gestation, birth, childhood, youth, maturity, middle age, old age, and death. From the death of one's father and the birth of one's son, a person can easily comprehend the rise and fall of his own body. The soul, who is the perceiver, is different from this body. But when there is no knowledge of the true facts, the living entity, confused by the objects of sense gratification, achieves its destinations within the cycle of material existence. Thus, the living entity continuously wanders under the spell of material work, taking birth as a sage or a demigod when he is predominated by the mode of goodness, among the demons or human beings when he is predominantly influenced by the mode of passion, and in the species of ghost spirits or animals when he is predominated by the mode of ignorance. The spirit soul does not engage in the enjoyment of sense objects. Rather, it's the senses that perform this activity. Therefore, the living being has no actual need for sense gratificatory pleasures, with the exception of those peaceful personalities who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are dedicated to the divine duty of his service. Everyone, including so called learned scholars, is inevitably overcome by the all powerful material nature. Okay, so elements, so 1 to 3. Shri Uddhav Vacha Katitatvani Vishvesha Sankyathani Rishibhi Prabho Navaikadasa Panchatrini Attatvam iha sushruma kechit shad vimsatim prahur apare pancha vimsatim shaptaike navasat kechit chatvari ekadasha pare kechit saptadasha prahuhu षोडशैके त्रयोदश एतावत्त्वं हि संख्यानां ऋषयो यद्विवक्षया गायन्ति पृथग् आयुष्मन् idam no vaktumarhasi. Uddhava inquired, My dear Lord, O Master of the universe, how many different elements of creation have been enumerated by the great sages? I've heard you personally describe a total of 28. I, God, the Jiva soul, the Mahat Tattva, false ego, the 5 gross elements, the 10 um, the 10 senses, the mind, the 5 subtle objects of perception, 3 modes of material nature. But some authorities say that there are 26 elements, while others cite 25, or else 7, 9, 6, 4, and 11. And even others say they are 17, 16, or 13. What did each of these sages have in mind when he calculated the creative elements in such different ways? O Supreme Eternal, kindly explain this to me. So in the Sankhya philosophy, we see there are 24 elements, but then you can always add more. Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the Mahatattva, and the 3 gunas. You add all that, then it comes to 28. Purport. Lord Krishna thoroughly explained in the previous chapter that Vedic knowledge is not meant for sense gratification, but for liberation from material bondage. Now Uddhava presents some intermediary questions that must be answered so that the path of liberation will be clear. Different philosophers have historically disagreed over the exact number of material elements. about the existence and non-existence of particular external objects, and about the existence of the soul itself. The Jnana-kanda section of the Vedas aims at liberation through analytical understanding of the material world and of the spirit soul as a transcendental element beyond matter. Ultimately, the Supreme Lord Himself stands above all elements and maintains them by His personal potency. Uddhava mentions in numerical terms different methodologies of various sages, citing first the Lord's own opinion. The word Ayushman, or possessing eternal form, is significant in this regard. Since Lord Krishna is eternal, he possesses all knowledge of past, present, and future. He possesses all knowledge of past, present, and future, and is thus the original and supreme philosopher. According to Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura, the different analytical approaches mentioned by Sri Uddhava actually not contradictory, since they are different methods of categorizing the same reality. That's what, it's just the methods which is different. Otherwise, everyone is just categorizing, I mean, what are the ingredients? It has to be the same. Atheistic speculation on reality does not recognize the existence of God. Consequently, it is worthless attempt to explain the truth. The Lord Himself empowers different living entities to speculate and speak on reality in different ways. The actual reality, however, is the Lord Himself who will now speak to Sri Uddhava. So the Sankhya Yoga, which is given by the atheistic Kapila, only talks about material elements. And the Sankhya Yoga given by Kapila Muni is devotional. I mean, it's recognizes Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. But apart from this, there are so many other philosophers also who have studied the, the what is the world made up? I mean, this whole universe. What are the ingredients of this universe? Uh, so some people recognize that there is God, then there is Jiva, so they add to that, and then it becomes 27. Then no, 25, then three modes of material nature also, which is not included in the one given by the imposter Kapila, atheistic Kapila, or even, I don't know about Kapila Muni's Sankhya Yoga. That also talks only about 24, 25. It's just a matter of adding things. But the basic thing is the same about all the different things, five elements and how all the other things they've studied. They studied our body, and so they've come to the conclusion what are the ingredients of a body, and also a body is a microcosm of the universe, which is a macrocosm. Whatever happens in the universe also happens in our body, universal form. It's also got everything. We know the universal form of the Lord has got eyes, and then it's got a face, he's got a face, and then arms and chest and belly and legs and feet. So whatever the Lord has, the same thing we also have in a minute quantity. So understand. Uh, so this is a step towards understanding Krishna. Ultimately, the Supreme Lord Himself stands above all elements and maintains them by His personal potency. So definitely He has to be included as being one of the ingredients. Without Him, all these is useless. Nothing will work. Um, Since Lord Krishna is eternal, He possesses all knowledge of past, present, and future, and is thus the original and supreme philosopher. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Yuktam cha santi sarvatra bhashante brahmana yata Mayam madiyam udgritya vadatam kim no durgatam. Lord Krishna replied, because all material elements are present everywhere, it's reasonable that different learned Brahmanas have analyzed them in different ways. All such philosophers spoke under the shelter of my mystic potency, and thus they could say anything without contradicting the truth. Okay, the purport. The word Santi Sarvatra in this verse indicates that all material elements are found within each other in gross and subtle forms. In this way, there are innumerable ways to categorically describe them. The material world is ultimately illusory, undergoing constant transformation. It may be measured in different ways, just as the mirage of an oasis may be described in different ways. But the Lord's own analysis of 28 elements is perfect and should be accepted. It is the most theistic description because Krishna talks about God also and the soul also, and then the three modes. Those are the extra ones. Srila Jeev Goswami states that the word Maya in this verse does not refer to Mahamaya or the um, potency of ignorance, but to the Lord's inconceivable mystic power, which shelters the learned followers of Vedic knowledge. Each of the philosophers mentioned here reveals a particular aspect of truth. Um, and their theories are not contradictory since they're simply describing the same phenomena with different categorical systems. Such philosophical disagreement is endless within the material world, thus everyone should unite on the platform of Lord's own opinion, as stated in this verse. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna requests all conditioned souls to give up their various forms of worship and surrender unto him in full Krishna consciousness, becoming his devotees. Thus, the whole universe can be united in love of Godhead by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By the Lord's revealing himself to a sincere devotee, the controversy of analytical philosophy is ended. So that's what there is so many differences, and these differences are only in the matter of how you categorize them. Krishna is always living entity is different, and Krishna always likes variety. And so there seems to be some disagreements. Some people will list all the elements. Some people may lose out. Some people may be atheistic like that. Because of that, there is variety even in the philosophical thing. So there is disagreement that is endless within the material world. On the mental platform, there will always be disagreements. Thus, everyone should unite. What unifies is Krishna, is on the platform of Lord's own opinion, as stated in this verse. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna requests all conditioned souls to give up various forms of worship and surrender unto him in full Krishna consciousness, becoming his devotees. Thus, the whole universe can be united in love of Godhead by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. By the Lord's revealing himself to a sincere devotee, the controversy of analytical philosophy is ended. Only up till you realize Krishna, we have to keep on discussing and debating and concluding and all these things. So much of debates and among religionists, each one thinks he's different. But the minute Krishna comes into the picture, then he is the unifying force, right? Now we saw Rama installed. I mean, Prana Pratishtha united everyone. Whatever may be their method, even the impersonalists, you got united. Everybody. So that is the thing. The minute we understand Krishna, then mm, that is it. Nothing, I mean, all these differences don't mean anything. And that is why the purpose of our Krishna consciousness is to understand Krishna. Now, how do we do it? Because understanding Krishna is very, very deep. He's too deep. He's full of, um, you know, um, it's very difficult to understand Krishna. And he has to reveal himself. Otherwise, we cannot study him and understand him and all that. So, when we are studying and trying to understand him through our mind and intelligence, then philosophy is important. All philosophical literature is simply through trying to figure out who's God. Okay, maybe he's like this, and then perhaps, and all this philosophy comes. But somebody has actually realized Krishna. Stop. No need to talk all those things. Just simply serve him. And Krishna is, there's so much Leelas to be discussed. Only Krishna. And no need of all these philosophy at all. Once you've realized Krishna, there's no need. That is why all these things are preliminary steps. Vedas and everything is simply to realize Krishna. And we've got a fantastic method to do that, happily circumventing all this Vedic path and all. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very merciful and very brilliant that he gave us a method by which very easily we can become God realized. That is the goal. Then why we should go from kindergarten? Suppose you're getting honorary doctorate, then why we should, okay, no, I will go and sit in the KG class and go step by step. No need. I will give you doctorate. You just study a little and you'll be eligible to get doctorate. Oh, fantastic. I won't go through all those lower classes. Very good. So naturally we should rush for it. But still you have to, you can't get doctorate with being an ignoramus. So you have to have some knowledge, but you get it all very fast, say, because of, whatever special favors on us. And similarly, devotional thing also, especially chanting Hare Krishna, gives everything very fast. But we have to come out of the three modes and all that. It's not that, okay, I'll be a Tamoguni devotee and I'll go back to Godhead. Or I'll be a Rajoguni devotee and I'll go back to Godhead. Or I will be attached to Sattvaguna also. Sattvaguna is okay. From there, we can transcend easily. But Rajoguna and Tamoguna, we maintain, we think, no problem. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I'll go back to Godhead. Maybe I'm in Rajoguna and all. Doesn't matter. I'm doing these devotional activities. I'll go back to Godhead. No, sir. You have to come to Tattva Guna. Maybe it doesn't matter. In Rajoguna also, you can start doing devotional service. That doesn't mean that is enough. We have to elevate our consciousness to the Sattva Guna. Then only we can transcend it and go back to Godhead. If we still are attached to Rajoguna, how we can't even understand Krishna properly. We won't understand that Krishna's Daivihi Esha Gunam, sorry, um, what is that? The one who understands my this thing, spiritual nature, transcendental nature. What is this? Tyaktva deham punarjanma na iti mam iti, so Arjuna. Right? We one who knows his transcendental nature. For that, we have to become transcendental. How we'll understand Krishna as transcendental? In Rajoguna, we will also think Krishna is a little Rajoguna mixed. Whatever we are, that's all will be our capacity to understand him. So we have to keep Sattvaguna as our goal. Whatever I do must be in Sattvaguna. Anything we know is Rajasic, we should just discard it. Or Tamoguna also, of course, Tamoguna never. But Rajogun, mostly we get stuck in that Rajogun. Subtle levels. We want some sense gratification, something we are attached to. And basically, it expresses itself in what? In wanting to be master of everyone, master of everything, envy, comparison, competition, um, and putting down others. All these are manifestations of Rajoguna, because Rajoguna means identification with the body, lust, and lust means it all its brothers immediately come. What is that? Envy, greed, pride, madness. everything comes along with lust. So lust is a manifestation of rajogun, right? Rajoguna samudbhava mahapapma maha this thing vidhi ena iha vairinam. Krishna says, why? I mean, because Arjuna asks, by what are we compelled to do sinful activities even against our wishes? I don't want to do also, I'm just forced to do. Why? And Krishna says, it's Rajoguna. That is the cause of your, and it's just the source of all sins. And Mahashani Mahapapma, most sinful Rajoguna. So we must cultivate, we should make it a this thing, we believe only in Sattva Guna, only that will be accepted. So, how can we, uh, because there is this tendency from the material world, also we get it from there, it's all sticking there. And also, we think we should do like initially, that is what will motivate people. So, you say, okay, whoever is the best in this, then we'll glorify them, we'll give them a prize, we'll honor them. So this kind of competition, then we get stuck in that. It may be for junior level. Okay, let's see who does well, and then everybody will run for that. But if you continue like that for how long, then only you'll think of competing and putting yourself up, and I'm the topmost and I'm the greatest, and same mood. From how will we understand Krishna as the supreme personality and I have to work for his pleasure? Will never enter the mind only. Will always be in Rajoguna. And that's why we want to promote if you have to compete, we have a great desire to compete, then compete with yourself. Oh yeah, I mean, some may be doing a lot, then they can compare with themselves and become better. And those who are doing a little less, they can also not feel envious. Oh, that person is doing so much more. Then you feel very jealous, and then you try to find fault with them and try to put obstacles on their path so that they don't do so much. I also won't do, he also should not do. This is real Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Let him do, you also do whatever you can. And because that is Sattva being satisfied, we're not competing, but rather that is why we should encourage everyone, whatever they are doing, if they're improving. Prabhupada said, anybody went and said that I'm doing this, okay, double it. He never said why you're doing less, that one is doing more, and then increase the envy between them. No, there's no need. And then you feel, oh, I must be only the best. Anybody is doing more than me, finish, stop it. And then we'll try to, you know, eh, we won't achieve anything much like that. On the other hand, you see how, I mean, in the material world, that is what really inspired me. And no, I thought it's possible. It's not that, oh, we are not pure devotees, we'll be stuck in passion and tamoguna only. Why? You see, oh, Motichi, he managed to get the whole country, and then, of course, from the country to the world, everyone to change in so many ways. He shook us all. How did he do that? He had his own team of people, so dedicated. And if you see the RSS people, so quietly they do all the work that they achieve by BJP achieves. Groundwork is all done by RSS. Nobody knows it. Go door to door, talking to people, helping people. They are there. Any this thing happens, um, any calamities, then they are there. Any earthquake, a tsunami, whatever. They go there and help people, give them clothes, food, everything. But nobody talks about it. They don't care. They're quietly doing. That's mode of goodness. That is why they are able to bring about this change. If you act in Rajoguna, you do your thing, I do my thing. I'm the king of my place, you are the king of your place. We'll all better to reign in hell. That is the English saying, no? Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. That's a materialistic way. I will be the king of my place, you be the king of your place, and then we'll be peaceful. You- But we can't achieve much like that unless we have a common purpose, the great, passion to achieve. Um, because we won't cooperate then. And when things require cooperation, and we'll try to put down another person. We're very envious why they are doing so much. I will not help them. I can help them. I've got something which they require. I know how to help them, but I will not help them. I'll only help my own people because he should not surpass me. Then what is this? We'll not achieve anything. But if we have a common goal, so Hindutva, they have no only Bharat Mata ki jai, only Hinduism should, I mean, Sanatan Dharma should spread. Everyone, Vasudeva Kutumbikam. That every time, that is the focus. Then you will be together. I mean, there is not so much politics really among them as much as we see elsewhere. They don't have much because of this overpowering goal focus. That is Sattva Guna. Not myself all the time, but seeing a larger vision, something greater. We must somehow, we should defeat Kali. We must make that every household somehow, if we can go and tell them about chanting and about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and somehow raise their consciousness. We should have, I mean, very regular meetings and plans about how we are going to cover all these, streets, so many people. Just simply approaching them quietly will bring about a big revolution. And everyone will feel very satisfied. And everyone is a hero in that because everyone has contributed their selfless, valuable services. And everybody feels very satisfied. Just like Rama was installed, Prana Pratishtha was done, the whole country, everybody felt so satisfied. And it's my Ram, it's my temple. That feeling. Nobody thought, oh, it's in North India. I want a South Indian temple close to my house. Nobody felt like that. Or why the South Indian sculptor carved? Why not North Indian? Nobody felt like that. Everyone was doing completely for Ram. So it is possible if we have that kind of vision and focus, we're all in it together. That is our goal, not individual things. Oh, kit all the time. That one, why he took my people, I took his people, and then why his name is up and mine, not mine. All these, that is Rajoguna. And we should completely eradicate anything of Rajoguna, which increases our anger, passion, you know, and those sort of things. Then if keep on training any, anger management, that is definitely, that's Rajoguna for sure. We know that whenever we get angry, just keep quiet and chant Hare Krishna, bring the mind to Sattva Guna, then do anything. Because Sattva Guna gives us intelligence. Raju Guna makes us so disturbed, and the intelligence is lost and falls down into the material pool again. So, in this way, in so many ways, because Sattva Guna builds our caring, loving qualities, very good qualities come out of Sattva Guna. On the other hand, Rajoguna makes us selfish and uh, destroys our productivity. I mean, only up to some level, but it cannot bring about a big thing, a transcendental thing. I mean, seeing Modi in operation, I see what is the possibility when there is somebody who's very determined to get the, I mean, to really, I mean, it's always thinking about the welfare of the people. You know, it seems in 1990s, when he went to the temple in Ayodhya, I mean, it was not a temple, just a makeshift tent. He went there and he spent quite some time there. And when he came out, the journalist asked him, what were you doing? Everyone else came out, what you did over there? So he said, no, I promised Ram that I'm not coming here until a temple is built for you. So he achieved that. He didn't go there until this temple. I mean, that much of determination to serve God and to serve us. He's not, how powerful he is because of that. At 17 years old, he took sannyas. So he's an extraordinary person. But we chant Hare Krishna, we can also get so much taste in serving Krishna, that together we can bring about a revolution. That's possible. You need, I mean, he's extraordinary person. He must have done a lot of tapasya in his previous life. That's why at 17 only he walked out of the house. Everything was nice, very loving parents, all this, brother, sister, everything fine. But he had no interest in material life. He wanted to go off, take sannyas. And because his guru told him, no, go, your duty is towards your country, that's why he came. He's not interested really for himself, for anything. So he's a very special soul. But we're chanting Hare Krishna, and together we can, if we work in Sattva Guna, he also unites everyone. Whoever is working under him, finished, they have to work like him. Otherwise, that is how he's able to fulfill whatever he promises, he's able to fulfill because of that. Working in Sattva Guna, not for yourself, no corruption, just do it as service. And they're all happy doing that, and they're getting very good results. So that only is the source of our happiness. And we should do it whenever any Rajoguna thoughts or this thing comes. We have to just pluck it out and throw it and develop, more and more Sattva Guna, by which we'll become very, very peaceful, and we'll be fully engaged, feel very happy, and we'll be united in helping one another to achieve the goal. The goal is that, not, my thing, your thing, and all this. And when you see such examples in the material world, they're not even doing a pure devotional service and all that. They're just in the mode of goodness. They are doing, of course, they have a lot of faith in God. And to some extent, because Vedic culture they're following, so they have faith in God and understanding that I am not the body, all that is there. But because they've made a bigger thing, something very, very idealistic thing. Oh, just a minute. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop and Hare Krishna. Sorry, I exceeded time. Hare Bol. And Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Am I there?
Yes, Mataji, we can hear you.
Okay. So, we'll stop now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Okay. Today we'll pray for everyone. Guru Maharaj is not well, and as yesterday was somebody mentioned about how he's in the hospital and all that. So let us pray for him that he has speedy recovery, and also for protection from all diseases for him and his servants. And only special things I'll mention, rest all as every day. That is, and then we pray for our center, that everything should move fast and we're able to shift, and also Lingaraj Dham and Srila Prabhupada Dham should do very well, and Touchstone School and Kidzin School should do very well. Then special prayers for Srinivas Prabhu's speedy recovery and good health, and Radhika Mataji also for her speedy recovery and good health. Anyone else needs special?
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. 1 minute.
Please accept my humble obeisances. Yes,
Mataji, please pray for Srinivas Prabhu. Actually, yesterday, Rupmai Mataji spoke to one doctor who is in UK. That is, I think, Srinivas Prabhu's some relatives. Because here doctors are putting pressure to do a bone marrow, but UK doctor is saying it's not at all required.
Okay.
So because bone marrow, if they do, no Mataji, lot of complications, Mataji, he has to undergo. It's not safe. So
Okay.
just pray, Mataji, so that they can take proper
He's asked
decision.
him to. Okay. How will he help that doctor there?
Which doctor, Mataji?
No, that's what UK doctor. How will he help him?
No, he has gone through all his files, everything, Mataji, and he's saying up to now whatever treatment has done, he responded very well, and all his parameters are very good. So his suggestion is not to go for a bone marrow.
Okay, but how should he continue then?
No,
I mean,
now
where
second,
should he continue with the treatment? Where?
No. See, treatment is going on, Mataji. Still chemo is going on now. Second chemo is going on actually. Then after that also they'll be keep giving the maybe chemo or oral chemo also, Mataji, like tablets and all he'll be taking for some time. But bone marrow, because these doctor here in India, Hyderabad doctor is saying, he want to remove like from the root and all, like that he is giving so much of counseling to the patients. But UK doctor is telling they will be doing like that only. Sometimes they'll be commercial also. So you people be strong, not to listen to him or something. In case anything is there, then we'll think of it afterwards. He's saying it's in Mataji.
Okay. So
So
let us pray for him.
yeah, Mataji, let them have a proper decision, solution from Krishna. They can, because it's depend on Rupamai Mataji only. Whatever she suggests, they listen actually. So much. That's
okay. Yeah, we'll pray special prayers for Srinivas Prabhu. And also for Radhika Mataji also, that hope she also comes out of that. Special prayers by Krishna's intervention. I hope they both become fully well. Let us chant 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Okay, let's stop now. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Granth ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavane. Vaishnavebhyo namo namah ananta koti Vaishnavvrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Aura Mataji. Can you hear me? Hare Krishna Yashwant Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Actually, the recording is in progress, and you are the host. Only you have to stop the recording.
Oh, okay. Way to stop it out, I don't know. If I'm
If
ending,
you,
then automatically it will be recordable.
it will automatically end. Yes. If you
Yeah.
end the meeting for everybody, it will end.
Sure.